गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सह अस्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. So Ram Ram Ram. In the previous few classes, we had completed some grammar, mainly based on prayogas and kridantas. Of course, we had dealt with some intermediate topics like upasargas, avyayas, etc. So we actually, some students had some doubts. I actually, sent you the practice test links. Probably as they were studying, they had some doubts, and some people needed some extra clarifications to be done. So this class is a revision class wherein we will go through these two concepts. Sandhi is not being discussed in this. The topics that we were included for this test were Sandhi, as well as Kridanta and Prayoga. In this particular class, we will just look into, just a minute, we'll look into just the Prayogas and the Kridantas. So as I have stated, so this is a Punaravartanam, that is the repetition of what we had already seen. I got time to just select a few sentences for Prayoga. Kridanta, I'll use the same slides as before. So first of all, many of you have not yet attempted your practice test. In view of that, that is one of the reasons that I had to postpone the actual test that I wanted to give you. The practice test is for you to understand how the final, like the actual test that is given by me, not the exam conducted by Sringeri Sharada Peetam, but the exam that will be conducted by me, to just know how the format will be and how you will have to answer. That was for you to understand that. It is, you can submit it multiple times. So if you, after submitting again, if you feel that you have done some mistake, you can resubmit it. But I have got answers from 6 people and have corrected 5 of those answers and have sent it back with corrections. So please go through the corrections, and the remaining people, please answer the question paper for you to understand what concepts you will need to know and how the test will be. Okay. So prayogas, coming to prayogas. So Sandhi, I think most of you will be able to understand, because we had taken 2 classes and also given you some documents related to that. So Swara Sandhi, Vyanjana Sandhi and Visarga Sandhi, these 3 concepts, please be clear. So prayoga is nothing but a formation of sentence. So how you form the sentence is, decides what will be your prayoga used. So in English, this is called voice. So voice is nothing but, it is either active voice or passive voice. So the same thing in Sanskrit is called prayoga. We will just read a few sentences and then we will discuss what prayogas are in detail. So the first sentence is, Rama eats the fruit, Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane. So here, as you can see, I have highlighted some words in red and some words that have been left black. That is because the red part itself can be a complete sentence. Rama eats, Ramanu tinnuttane. So that sentence itself is complete. You don't need that what he eats. And the second part is not important and it can vary. Rama eats food, Rama eats the fruit, Rama eats the vegetable. So the second part, that is the fruit or hannannu, is not that important. You mainly need in this particular sentence the verb that is eats and who is eating. So in this sentence, just eats the fruit does not make sense. Rama eats makes sense because it can be anything, but Rama eats, that is their main phrase that will have the complete meaning and it will have the completeness of the sentence. Now, if you see in the next sentence, I have changed the doer. That is in the first case, tinnuttane. That is your main kriya pada. So who is doing the action?
Rama.
Rama. So in the first case, Rama is doing the action, and what is the action? Eats. So tinnuttane. So Ramanu tinnuttane. So that is your doer and the action. Now let us look at the second example. The children eat the fruit. So the fruit I have kept it the same, but I have made the doer, that is the person doing the action, as plural. So instead of Rama being a singular, I've used children, which is plural. And if you see in English, the children eat the fruit. So the the verb changes when your doer changes. So if with Rama, which is singular, you have eats. With children, which is plural, it becomes eat. In Kannada, or in any regional language, it is more evident. Ramanu tinnuttane, makkalu tinnuttare. So since your subject or the doer is changing, your verb is also changing. Now, let us keep Rama as it is, and now let us change the object, the second part of the sentence, it is a fruit. So in the first case, fruit was singular. Now let us change it to plural. Ramanu ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತಾನೆ, ರಾಮನು ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತಾನೆ. Rama eats the fruit. Rama eats the fruits. ರಾಮನು ಹಣ್ಣುಗಳನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತಾನೆ. So if you remove the black part, the sentences in the first and the third case are both the same. What this shows is, in this particular type of usage or in this particular type of sentence structure, the prominence, the correlation exists between the work and the person doing the work, irrespective of what the work is. If the doer of the work changes, the kriya pada or the verb also consecutively changes. Ramanu tinnuttane, Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane. So if you have one object, that is one thing, Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane, Ramanu hannugalannu tinnuttane. Even though the fruit and the fruits part has changed, still the doer and the verb both continue to remain the same in the first and third example. Only when the doer changes. So in the second example, Rama, which is singular, has changed to the children, which is plural. Hence, tinnuttane becomes tinnuttare. So the kriya pada changes as per the doer and not the object work being done or the object being done. So there are certain terminologies for each of them. Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane. Let us take this example. So the person doing the job. So you should always start with the kriya pada. So the work or the action verb is what you should start with. So here tinnuttane is your verb. So that is your first thing you identify. Now, who is doing the work? That will give you subject. In Sanskrit, the action verb is called kriya pada. The person doing the action is called kartrupada. So kartru is the doer. So who does the work is called kartrupada. What is the work being done? That is called karma pada or object in English. So subject, object, verb, kartrupada, karma pada, kriya pada. The ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿರುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಕ್ರಿಯಾಪದ. ಯಾರು ಆ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾರೆ? ಕರ್ತೃಪದ. ಆ ಕರ್ತೃ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾನೆ? ಅದು ಕರ್ಮಪದ. So these are the three different types of words that are necessary. And in this particular, like in these three sentences, what you observe is in this particular sentence formation, always the kriya pada follows the kartrupada. If the doer changes, let us now take this an example not given in this slide. Let us say you eat the fruit. You eat the fruit. So now the all these were in the third person. So third person is other than you and me. Any other noun, pronoun, or any proper noun are called third person. So Rama, children, he, she, it, all these are third person. Now let us bring in the second person. So you eat the fruit. Neenu hannannu tinnu. Since the doer has changed from third person to second person, that is you, the verb also consecutively changes to tinnu. And let us again change the number of fruits. So neenu hannannu tinnu, neenu hannugalannu tinnu. Even though the object fruit has changed from singular to plural, the kriya pada always follows the kartrupada. Since there is no change in kartrupada, the kriya pada continues to remain the same. Similarly, I eat the fruit. ನಾನು ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಹಣ್ಣುಗಳನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾವು ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನುತ್ತೇವೆ. So whenever the kartrupada changes, the karma pada, the kriya pada automatically changes. So this type of format wherein the kriya pada follows the kartrupada, it is called kartari prayoga, as the name itself has it, kartari prayoga. So karta is the important aspect here. So any change in the sentence, the kriya pada's reflection of the change is brought out by the change in the kartrupada. And having gone through all these three examples, or even the two additional examples that I told, nanu hannannu tinnuttene, neenu hannannu tinnu. So all these, if you take, the common observation is the person doing the job, the kartra, is always in the prathama vibhakti. Ramanu, makkalu, Ramanu, neenu, nanu, u. So u annu inda geke deseಯಿಂದ. So in these vibhaktis, if you observe, all these are in the prathama vibhakti u. And all the objects, that is the karma pada, is in dvitiya vibhakti. Hannu, hannannu, hannugalannu, utavannu. So whatever object you take, it will always be in dvitiya vibhakti. And as I told you, the kriya pada follows the kartrupada. And this kriya pada will be usually in the parasmay or atmanepadi. So it can be neither parasmaypadi or atmanepadi. So you don't have such a classification in Kannada or in your regional languages, but Sanskrit has a particular usage in which dhatus are segregated into Parasmaipadi and Atmanipadi. The major difference is in the way they are declined. So in this particular type of usage, that is Kartari Prayoga, that is the sentences being discussed in this slide, the Kriyapada can be either Kartapada, Parasmaipadi or Atmanepadi dhatu. So the rule for Kartari Prayoga is first Kartripada, the doer, Ramanu, Makkalu, Neenu, Nanu, all these should be in Prathama Vibhakti. Karma Pada, Maduttiruva Kelasa, the object the work being done or the object under consideration, that should be in Dvitiya Vibhakti. And the Kriya Pada should always follow the Kartripada. So what do I mean by follow? So the Kriya Pada, you know, how do you recognize a word as a Kriya Pada? It is based on Lakara, Purusha, Vachana. So what I'm telling is, the Lakara, of course, is decided by the verb. So based on the sentence formation. So here all these are in the present tense. So Lakara is decided by how the sentence is framed, but the Purusha and the Vachana are decided by the Kartripada. So in these cases, Ramanu, Makkalu, all these are third person. So it is Prathama Purusha. In Sanskrit, it's called Prathama Purusha. So the Kriyapadas, Purusha is decided by the Kartripada. In these cases, it is Tritiya Vibhakti. Sorry, Prathama Purusha. Now, if you take Neenu Hannanu Tinnu, Neenu is Tvam, that is Madhyama Purusha. Hence, if you have Neenu Hannanu Tinnu, the Kriyapada should have the Purusha of Madhyama Purusha, because the Kartripada is Madhyama Purusha, that is Tvam. If it is Nanu Hannanu Tinnutene, it is first person. Hence, your Kriyapada should also be in the first person. Again, Ramanu is Ekavachanam, that is, you have only singular. Hence, your Kriyapadas Vachana should also be singular. Makkalu, it is Bahuvachana. Hence, your Kriyapada should also be Bahuvachana. So, when I tell that the Kriyapada follows the Kartripada, it means that Kriyapadas, Purusha and Vachana are decided by the Kartripada. So, this type of formation is called Kartari Prayoga. Any doubts, please ask and clarify.
Ram.
Yeah.
This is Rupa.
Yeah.
I have a little bit doubts when we are doing that verb translation from Parasmai Atmanepadi to Parasmaipadi, like from Karmani to Kartari. That usage sometimes we get confused. So if you have examples for those verbs, translations like likhyate becomes something like hasyate become hasati. Like that, if you give few examples, so we will understand from lot lakara how it will change from lat, from lung. So it will be little bit helpful for us to practice only the verb part.
Okay. So I will explain the prayogas, and then I've not exactly chosen Lakara based examples. So we'll go to the examples that I previously discussed in the prayoga concept. So we can go back to those examples because I've used all the types of Lakaras possible. Now we will look into another type of, so the same examples that I've chosen in the sentences that I've chosen in the previous slide, I've written it in a different way. So English, Kannada, any regional languages allows both these ways of using. So in the previous example, the first sentence was Rama ate the fruit. Now we will just change the order of words, and then the new sentence that is formed is the fruit was eaten by Rama. Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane, Ramaninda hannu tinnalpaduttade. So this is what is called voice or prayoga. So now we are coming into the concept of prayoga, wherein the same sentence that was Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane can be rephrased and rewritten as Ramaninda hannu tinnalpaduttade. So the meaning does not change at all. Meaning in the first type of construction and the second type of construction is the same, but we will look how this construction is different from the previous one that we discussed. The second example from the same previous slides correlation is the children eat the fruits, eat the fruit or fruits. The corresponding sentence structure here is the fruit was eaten by the children. Makkalinda hannu tinnalpaduttade. Again, the third example, there was Rama eats the fruits. Here, the fruits were eaten by Rama. Ramaninda hannugalu tinnalpaduttave. Now, if you see the red marked parts of the sentence, you see that they are different from what we had marked in the previous sentence, in the previous slide. So in the previous slide, the highlight was on Rama eats. But here the highlight is on the fruit was eaten. So now the entire importance or the completeness of the sentence in the previous slide was on Rama, the children, and the verb. But here in this slide, if you see, the entire highlight is on the object or the work being done. Here it is the object, that is a fruit, and the verb. So here, as you can understand, and as you can already read from the Kannada and the English examples, the prominence has shifted from the doer to the work being done. Previously, Rama eats, that entire sentence itself was complete. But here, by Rama, so you can't, if you use Rama without any other words, there is no completeness. Eaten by Rama is not a complete sentence, but the fruit was eaten is a complete sentence. ಹಣ್ಣುಗಳು ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ, it's a complete sentence. ರಾಮನಿಂದ ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ, though it seems complete, you still have something missing, because in this type of usage, which is called a passive voice in English, the verb always is dependent on the object. So the verb, if it has been used, it should always be supported by an object for it to have completeness in its meaning. And again, if you read the first and second sentence, you can easily understand that even though the object, the doer has changed from Rama to Makkalu, or Rama to the children, that is, there is a change in the vachana of the doer, still the kriyapada, that is eat, eaten, whatever, continues to be ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ. But if you read the first and the third sentence, even though the kartripada, that is the doer, has continued to be the same, Ramaninda, by Rama, the kriyapada has changed only because the only change in the first and third sentences, the fruit has changed from the fruit to the fruits. So the vachana change in the fruit has brought about a change in the corresponding kriyapada. Hence, this type of construction, you see that the kriyapada follows the object. The verb follows the object, in the sense the vachana and the purusha of the kriyapada is decided by, or is dictated by, the object or the karmapada, the work being done. And whatever be the change in the kartripada, either in the purusha, vachana, or linga, still the kriyapada does not change. For example, we'll use the same previous type of correlations that we used. Ninninda hannu tinnalpaduttade. So even though you have moved from third person to second person, tinnalpaduttade is the same, because hannu, that is object, is still ekavachana, hence tinnalpaduttade. Nanninda hannu tinnalpaduttade. So irrespective of the vachana, as you have seen in Ramaninda, Ninninda, Nanninda, the verb does not change. Even with the purusha, Nanninda hannu tinnalpaduttave, namminda hannu tinnalpaduttade. The fruit was eaten by me, the fruit was eaten by us. So irrespective of the vachana of the kartripada, the karmapada, see, the kriyapada does not change. But if you change the vachana or the purusha of the object or the work being done, it immediately causes the change in the kriyapada. So this type of usage, wherein the kriyapada, that is the verb, follows the object or the work being done, such type of usage is called karmani prayoga. And as the name itself tells, karmani, karma, so karma pada's prominence is of more important. The karma pada has a more important status in this type of usage, and this type of usage is called karmani prayoga. Kartari prayoga, karmani prayoga. And again, if you see through the sentences, always the doer is in Ramaninda, Makkalinda, Ninninda, Nanninda. So u, annu, inda. So it is in Tritiya Vibhakti. And all the objects or the work being done is always in Prathama Vibhakti. Hannu, hannugalu. So all these are in Prathama Vibhakti. The vachana can change. So the common understanding is, in this type of karmani prayoga usage, the doer should be in Tritiya Vibhakti, the object or the work being done is in Prathama Vibhakti, and the kriya padas purusha and vachana is dictated by the purusha and vachana of the object or the karma pada. Any doubts in this type of usage? So you understood that the difference between the two usages, kartari and karmani prayoga. In kartari prayoga, kartripada is in prathama vibhakti, karma pada is in dvitiya vibhakti, kriya pada follows the kartripada. In karmani prayoga, kartripada is in tritiya vibhakti, karma pada is in prathama vibhakti, and the kriya pada follows the karma pada. Ramanu hannanu tinnuttane, Ramaninda hannu tinnalpaduttade. So whenever, when you are doing translation, whenever you have this tinnalpaduttade, madolpaduttade, so when these type of words, Kannada words, you come across, it is nearly evident that it is karmani prayoga. Now, any doubts in this karmani prayoga usage? Okay. So now, under Karmani Prayoga, there is another way of declining. So in both these slides, what you saw is there is one Kartrupada, there is one Karmapada, and there is one Kriyapada. That is, you have a subject, verb, as well as an object. But there is a separate set of usages wherein there is no object at all. That is the verb. So usually, what you have to understand is the sentence use of subject, verb, object or verb. Verb is, see, as I've told you in the very first class of this entire grammar section in the Vakya concept, Kriya Pada is compulsorily a must. So a sentence can never be fulfilled if there is no Kriya Pada. Hence, Kriya Pada should always be there. The appearance of subject or object depends on the way that you're using. So if it is Kartari Prayoga, you should obviously have a Kartrupada. If it is Karmani Prayoga, you should obviously have a Karmapada. But there is a third set of usage which is called Bhave Prayoga, which is sometimes called impersonal usage, impersonal voice in English, but it's not a very commonly used phrase. But Bhave Prayoga is a third type of Prayoga in Sanskrit, wherein there is no object at all. And why there is no object is based on the dhatu. So in Sanskrit, dhatus are classified, as I've told you, as Parasmaipadi as well as Atmanepadi. But there is a second type of classification. That classification is called Akarmaka and Sakarmaka. That is, will the verb need an object to be explained? So can the verb answer the question to the object? For example, if you will go into this sentence, Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane. So if you want to frame a question wherein you get hannannu as the answer, how will you frame a question? Ramanu yenannu tinnuttane. So if you ask the question Ramanu yenannu tinnuttane, then you can get an answer as hannannu, utavannu, tindiyannu. So you can get different answers. What does Rama eat? Rama eats a fruit. So if you can answer the question what posed on the verb, then that type of dhatu is called sakarmaka. That is, it accepts karma, that is object. The second type of set of dhatus that you have are called akarmaka dhatus, and as the name itself tells, it does not need or it does not take up any object at all. For example, hasati or laugh. Rama laughs. What does Rama laugh? The question is not answered. Ramanu yenannu naguttane. You can never answer the question. You can answer the question Ramanu yetakke naguttane, yelli naguttane, hege naguttane. So you can ask different questions, but you can never answer. You can get answers to all these questions, but you can never get an answer, clear-cut, defined answer for Ramanu yenannu naguttane. So these set of dhatus which cannot answer this question yenannu are called akarmaka dhatus, and the prayoga that uses these akarmaka dhatus only is called bhave prayoga. So bhave prayoga only uses akarmaka dhatu, and the set of akarmaka dhatus is very limited. You can search it online, you can search it in any book. I have even mentioned some of the commonly used akarmaka dhatus in the previous videos that we did on bhave prayoga. So except for those in the commonly used 6, 7 or 8 dhatus, most of the others are sakarmaka dhatus. For example, creed. Though in English or in Kannada you have yenannu atavaduttane as a common usage, but still it's a colloquial usage and it's not a well-defined grammatical usage. Similarly, if you have tushyati, happy, yenannu santosha paduttane, you can never answer. Yetakkagi santosha paduttane. So you can ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಡುತ್ತಾನೆ. So you can answer many questions except for yenannu. So these type of 3-4 common, okay, even ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಏನನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತಾನೆ. So these predefined set of akarmaka dhatus are used only in bhave prayoga. The rule is very similar to karmani prayoga. So in the same way as you can see in this slide, bhave prayoga also has its kartripada, that is the doer in the tritiya vibhakti. You will not have an object, so that is removed, and the kriya pada should also be in this type of format. And I previously forgot to mention it. In karmani prayoga, the verb should always be in atmanepadi. It should always be in atmanepadi. Even if it's a parasmaipadi dhatu, it should undergo a change to form an atmanepadi form of the same lakara, and that should be used. So atmanepadi is a must for karmani prayoga. Coming to bhave prayoga, the common rule is that the kartar pada should be in tritiya vibhakti. There is no kriya pada, so there is no rule on that. Kriya pada should be in atmanepadi only, and there is a second rule for the kriya pada. It should always be in prathama purusha ekavachanam only. So if you find a sentence wherein your kartrupada is in tritiya and kriyapada is atmanepadi prathama purusha ekavachanam, you can usually think that it is bhave prayoga. For example, ramaninda nagal paduttade. So you can add ramaninda maniyalli nagal paduttade, so you can add different words, but you can never you can never put an object in this particular sentence. So ramaninda nagal paduttade, so this is a bhave prayoga usage. It is being laughed by Rama. So in English, it comes into picture. So you can it is it has to be it included to get the completeness in the English sentence. But that it can sometimes cause confusions to make you feel that the sentence is a passive voice, but it is not a passive voice because it is just there to complete the English sentence. Hence, English translations can be tricky if you are not confident with the regional language. So regional language, if you can translate, you can get the clear explanation if it is kartari, karmani or bhave. So kartari is very straightforward. If you have kartrupada prathama, karmapada dvitiya, then you can usually tell it is kartari prayoga. Only if it is if there is doubt between karmani and bhave, always try to ask the question yenannu on the karma kriyapada. If you can get an answer, a valid answer for the question, then it is sakarmaka dhatu, hence it should be karmani prayoga. If it cannot answer the question, it is sakarmaka dhatu, hence it should always be bhave prayoga. Any doubts in these three types of prayogas, kartari, karmani and bhave? Any doubts?
No, Anna.
No doubts.
Okay. So I've just taken the same examples in the previous sentences. So yeah, before we, I'll give you the exact answer that I have written. So we will just discuss, since we are already confident with the vibhaktis of different shabdas, we will try to translate it from this slide before going to the answer slide. So we will take the first example. Ramanu hannannu tinnuttane. So Ramanu is prathama vibhakti. So what will be the translation in Sanskrit? What is Ramanu in Sanskrit?
Ramaha.
Ramaha. So Rama is a akaranta pullinga shabda. We want the prathama vibhakti and we know that Rama is singular, so ekavachanam. So Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, so Ramaha. Hannannu. Hannannu, as we know, is dvitiya vibhakti. Uvannu, so dvitiya vibhakti. And again, hannannu is a singular, hence it is ekavachanam. So what will be the word there?
Phalam.
Phalam. Because
Phalam.
phalam is a napumsakalinga pada. It is a akaranta napumsakalinga phalam shabda. Hence, hannannu, prathama as well as dvitiya in napumsakalinga padas is the same, but you have to just know that it is dvitiya vibhakti. So phalam. Tinnuttane. What will be the particular kriya pada?
Khadati.
Khadati. So the sentence will be Ramaha phalam khadati. Now, please translate the second sentence, makkalu. Use any word, common any word for makkalu, but give me the correct vibhakti vachana. Makkalu or children.
Balaha.
Very good. Balaha. So
Balaha phalam
Phalam kadati.
khadanti.
Yeah. So now we'll just go word by word. So balaha. So it is bala shabda akaranta pullinga similar to Rama shabda, but we want makkalu, that is plural. So balaha, balo, balaha. So balaha is makkalu. Done. Hannannu. So from the previous sentence we already have phalam. Since it is also dvitiya eka, that's also dvitiya eka, so phalam. Now, as I've told you, purusha and vachana of the kriya pada should be dictated by the kartrupada. So makkalu, it is third person, so it is prathama purusha. The khad is the dhatu, tinnuttane. So for that, khad is the dhatu. And we know that it is, since it is present tense, so the children eat the fruit. The sentence tells you that it is present tense. Hence, you should use latlakara. In that, we are using a makkalu, which is a third person word. So it is prathama purusha. And makkalu, which vachana it is? Bahuvachanam. So what will be the final form of the verb tinnuttane in Sanskrit?
Khadanti.
Khadati, khadata, khadanti. We want the Prathama Purusha Bahuvachana form. So Khadanti. So your final sentence will be Balaha Phalam Khadanti. Okay? Now, let us look at the third example. Ramanu. What will Ramanu be?
Ramah.
Ramaha again.
Yeah. Hannugalannu. Now, which vachana is this?
Bahuvachana.
Bahuvachana.
Bahuvachanam. So, what will be the corresponding word for hannugalannu?
Phalani.
Phalani.
Phalani. Now, first tell me, what is the tense of the sentence?
Present tense.
Present tense.
Present
So,
tense.
what is the lakara that you will use in Sanskrit?
Lat lakar.
Lat lakara.
Latlaka.
Ramanu is which person?
First person.
Third person. So in Sanskrit it is opposite and in English it is opposite. First person in English is me. First person, that is Prathama Purusha in Sanskrit, is third person in English. So you tell me the Purusha. Okay, we'll not talk about the person in English. We'll talk directly about the Purusha. Which Purusha is Rama?
Prathama Purusha.
Prathama Purusha. Which Vachana is Rama?
Ekavachana.
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 So you need, what do you need to define a verb? Lakara, Purusha, Vachana. So here we already know that it's Khad Dhatu because we are talking about Tinuttane. We have decided that it is Latlakara because the tense is present tense. We got the Purusha as Prathama Purusha because Rama is neither you nor me, so it's third person. And Vachana we have decided that it is Ekavachanam. So the verb should be Khad Dhatu, Latlakara, Prathama Purusha, Ekavachanam. What will the word be?
Khadati.
Khadati. Very good. So the final sentence will be Ramaha Phalani Khadati. So again, as you can see in the first and third sentence, Ramaha Phalam Khadati, Ramaha Phalani Khadati. So in both these sentences, though the Phala has changed from Ekavachana to Bahuvachanam, since Rama is continuing to be in Ekavachanam, the Kriya Pada also does not change. Only in the second case wherein Ramaha became Balaha, which is Bahuvachanam, it became Balaha Phalam Khadanti. So this is Kartari Prayoga. Now let us translate these three sentences. The fruit was eaten by Rama. So as you know, I've told you before also, regional languages are the best way to find out the vibhakti. So we will translate from Kannada to the Sanskrit sentence. Ramaninda hannu tinnal paduttade. First tell me Ramaninda. First tell me the tense of this entire sentence. Which tense is the sentence is?
Past tense.
It is past perfect tense. Okay, past perfect tense. But the thing in Sanskrit is, whenever you come across this sentence, you can either use past perfect usage or you can use Atmanepadi usage. And past perfect usage, by when I'm telling past perfect, it means that using Kridantas. Since we'll discuss Kridantas after this, we'll restrict ourselves to Atmanepadi usage. So we'll talk only about Atmanepadi. So in this particular sentence, though the sentence in English is seems to be past perfect, that's why in Sanskrit, in English, you always have the ambiguity in the tense as well. Now read the Kannada sentence. Ramaninda hannu tinnal paduttade. Which tense do you feel it to be in now after reading the Kannada sentence? It is very close to future tense, but it is in the present itself. Tinnal paduttade. It gives you an idea that it is being done in the future, but these constructions are in present tense itself. But the only thing is the past perfect usage brings in the Atmanepadi. So whatever this ambiguity in the past perfect and the present tense is handled by the Atmanepadi dhatu that you will come up with. So all these three sentences will be in Latlakara itself, but only in the Atmanepadi form. Okay. Now tell me, Ramaninda, which Linga Anta Vibhakti Vachana is Ramaninda? What will it be?
Tritiya Vibhakti.
Tritiya Vibhakti. U annu inda. So Tritiya Vibhakti. So what will be the corresponding word for Ramaninda in Sanskrit?
Ramena.
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 Very good. Hannu. This is which one? Is it Prathama Vibhakti or Dvitiya Vibhakti?
Prathama Vibhakti
Prathama
Ekavachana.
Vibhakti.
Very good. Because U annu inda. So hannu. U. So it is Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam. Very good. So the corresponding word will be Phalam. There the Phalam was Dvitiya Vibhakti. Here the Phalam is Prathama Vibhakti. ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ. Now, as you know, discussed in the previous slides and as one of the students pointed out as well, whenever you convert the dhatus from parasmaipadi to atmanepadi, you have modifications that occur in the dhatu form, because some, there are again types of dhatus. As I've told you, sir, there are dhatus which are only parasmaipadi, there are dhatus which are only atmanepadi, there are some dhatus which are ubhayapadi, so they can they take the form in both parasmaipadi as well as atmanepadi. But whenever you're doing this type of conversion, that is from active voice to passive voice, there will be always situations when you'll have to convert from parasmaipadi to atmanepadi. And even though some atmanepadi dhatus can be used in active voice, when you're using it in karmani prayoga, they have to undergo change. That change, it is not very intuitive, so you don't understand it, or it does not, it's not a thing that you can learn immediately. It comes by practice. I'll give you some examples of different lakaras, how they change and how these dhatu changes happen. But for now, the common thing that you have to observe is there is a yakara addition. So whenever you change from a parasmaipadi dhatu to a karmani prayoga atmanepadi dhatu, or an atmanepadi dhatu in kartari prayoga to a atmanepadi dhatu in the karmani prayoga, you always have that yakara addition. But that yakara addition changes the dhatu's form as a whole. So that will come with practice. But in this case, we will understand what the lakara purusha vachana is. The final form I will give you for you to know. Practice it and you'll be able to understand how these lakaras change with these the padas change with these variations. So Ramaninda, Ramena, Hannu, Phalam, Khadati was the latlakara prathama purusha ekavachana for atmanepadi, so parasmaipadi. When you're converting it into this passive voice, it will become khadyate. The declining will be similar to labhate. Labhate is inherently an atmanepadi. So labhate, labhete, labhante, labhase, labhete, labhatve, labhe, labhavahe, labhamahe. So that type of declining itself will have to follow. But only thing is, khadati will become khadyate. So khad will get a yakara and then it will convert into atmanepadi form. Similarly, let us say you use labdhatu in kartari prayoga. For example, Sita phalam, Sita ankam labhate. So Sita gets marks. Sita ankam labhate. When you change it, labhate, even though it is atmanepadi, when you convert it into that karmani prayogas atmanepadi, it will become labhyate. Labhate, labhyate. Khadati, khadyate. Pathati, pathyate. So these are transitions, how they happen. And sometimes it's just addition of year, but sometimes it totally changes the form itself. For example, pashyati, drishyate. So there is no correlation at all between pashyati and drishyate. So if you don't know that these are the conversions, you will never be able to understand how drishyate came. So that comes by practice. I have used some of these words in the previous example, so we'll look at that after we complete this. So for now, we will just, I'll give you the kriya pada myself. If you can come up with the kriya pada, very good. But in this, all these examples, I've used Tinalpaduttade itself, so it will be khadyate itself. So the first sentence will be Ramena phalam khadyate. Second sentence, can someone translate it? Makkalinda hannu tinnalpaduttade.
बालैः फलं खाद्यन्ते.
Okay, balaihi phalam, very good. As I've told you, the purusha and vachana of the kriya pada in karmani prayoga will be decided by the karma pada. Hannu is prathama purusha, that is third person, ekavachanam. Hence, tinnalpaduttade should have the same purusha and vachana as hannu. That is prathama purusha ekavachanam, not bahuvachanam. Balaihi phalam khadyate itself. Because phalam is continuing to be in ekavachanam, tinnalpaduttade should also be in ekavachanam, khadyate. Only when you change in the third sentence, Ramaninda hannugalu tinnalpaduttave. If you change this, Ramaninda, what will be the word?
Ramena.
Ramena. Hannugalu, what will be the word? What will be the word for hannugalu?
Phalani.
Phalani, very good. Phalam phale phalani. Hannugalu is it's Hannu was the Prathama Purusha, Prathama Vibhakti. Hannugalu is also Prathama Vibhakti, but Bahuvachanam. Hence, Hannugalu is Phalani. Now that you are using Hannugalu, now what is the which person is it? Is it Prathama Purusha, Madhyama Purusha, or Uttama Purusha? Phalani. As I've told you, how do you find the Purusha? If it is neither you nor me, then it should always be third person. Hannu is neither you nor me. Hence, it's always third person, which is Prathama Purusha. Hannugalu.
Pratama Purusha.
Yeah, so Hannugalu is always Prathama Purusha. Which Vachana is it?
Bahuvachanam.
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 So, since this is Karmani Prayoga, that is your prominence is on Karma Pada, that is the object. The Lakara is decided by the sentence, as I've told you, it is Lat Lakara, but in Atmanepadi form. The Purusha and Vachana is decided by the Karma Pada. In this case, it is Prathama Purusha Bahuvachanam. Hence, Ramena Phalani Khadyante. So that will be your final sentence or the translation for the third sentence. Any doubts? So that is what I have given here. Ramaha phalam khadati, Balaha phalam khadanti. Since the doer subject has changed to Bahuvachanam, khadati will change to Bahuvachanam, khadanti. Ramaha phalam khadati, Ramaha phalani khadati. Though the object has changed in Vachana, the Kriya Pada follows the Karma Pada, and hence it is continuing to be Ekavachanam. Ramena phalam khadyate, Balaihi phalam khadyate. So even though the Kartripada has changed its Vachana, there is no impact on the Kriya Pada because it is a Karmani Prayoga usage, wherein the object has more prominence. Ramena phalani khadyante. Since the object has changed from phalam to phalani, that is the Vachana has changed, this will also change in Vachana. So these are some of the examples that I have taken. Coming to the question asked by the student. So now, as I've told you, if it is Lat Lakara, there is one common rule that you should always understand. You should never change the Vachana from when you are converting it from one Prayoga to the other Prayoga. So if you are converting it from Kartari to Karmani, Karmani to Kartari, Kartari to Bhave, or Bhave to Kartari. So any of these conversions, never change the Vachana of the any word. So if the Kartripada is in Ekavachanam, even after conversion, the Vachana should be the same. If the Karma Pada is in Bahuvachanam, even after conversion, it should be in Bahuvachanam. And so these are the two rules for Kartari, so the Kartripada and Karma Pada. So the rule for Kartripada and Karma Pada, subject and object, is do not change the Vachana. Of course, do not change the Linga. So you can never change the Linga because you will be in the same Shabda, but you should not change the Shabda, you should not change the Vachana. Coming to the Kriya Pada, I can't tell you about the Vachana because when you change based on the Karma, if you are changing from Kartari to Karmani or Karmani to Kartari, the Vachana can change based on Kartara or Karma Pada. But the only thing that should always remain constant is the Lakara. So what will be constant when you do Prayoga Parivartanam, that is conversion from one Prayoga to the other, is Kartripada and Karma Padas Vachanas should always be the same. They should match in both the sentences. The Lakara of the Kriya Pada should also match in both the sentences. Okay, these are the three first things that you should understand. Never change the Vachana, never change the Lakara. Okay, so now, as I've told you, the conversion you have understood. If you are in Kartari Prayoga, this rule will be valid. That is, so in Kartari Prayoga, Kartripada Prathama, Karma Pada Dvitiya, Kriya Pada, Parasmaya Ratmane. So if you can keep this table in your mind, you can easily identify if it is Kartari or Karmani Prayoga. Now, coming to the Dhatus, you should be familiar with both sides of Dhatus. So if you know, you should be confident about Parasmayapadi Dhatus, Lat, Lang, Rit, Vidhiling, Lot. At least these 5 important and the most commonly commonly used Lakaras, if you are confident, for both Parasmayapadi as well as Atmanepadi, you can do any type of Prayoga Parivartanam easily. So in Lat Lakara, Patati, Patataha, Patanti, Patasi, Patataha, Patata, Patami, Patavaha, Patamaha. Atmanepadi side, Labhate, Labhete, Labhante, Labhase, Labhete, Labhadve, Labhe, Labhavahe, Labhamahe. Similarly, you should know Lat, Lang, that is present, past, Rit, future, Lot, that is for any type of request, and Vidhiling, that is for order. So here I have used most of these vibhakti, lakaras that I discussed here. So in this first example, I've used gacchati. Gacchati is a lat lakara form. When you change it into the karmani prayoga, so the sentence is in kartari prayoga, and I'm now converting it into karmani prayoga. When I do that, as you can see, you have added the yakara. So gach dhatu plus yakara will give you gamyate. But gamyate is still a lat lakara similar to labhate. So the lakara you're not changing. You can change based on the, as I've told you, based on the type of prayoga, the vachana can change, the purusha can change, but the lakara is the same. So gachati, lat lakara will change to gamyate. That is lat lakara. If it was gachatu, what is the lot lakara for atmanepadi? Let us take the example of labdhatu. What is labdhatu's lot lakara? Can someone tell me the lot lakara?
Labhyatam.
Labhatam.
Labhatam.
Yeah. So labhatam, labhetam, labhantam, labhasva, labhetam, labhadvam, labhai, labhavahi, labhamahi. So this is the lot lakara for atmanepadi. Hence, let us say the sentence, the given sentence was Ramaha Shalam Gachatu. That is, the first sentence itself has lot lakara. Don't change the lakara. Hence, when you change it from Gachatu to the karmani prayoga, it will become Gamyatam. Labhatam, labhetam, labhantam, Gamyatam, gamyetam, gamyentam. So that is lot lakara. Now let us, any doubts? Okay. So now let us use the lang lakara. Agachat. Ramaha Shalam Agachat. That is the lat lakara for Parasmaipadi. When you change it into Karmani Prayoga's Atmanepadi form, what is the Atmanepadi form's lang lakara? Labdhatu. Lang lakara of Labdhatu.
Alabhata.
Alabhata. Alabhata, alabhetam, alabhanta. Yeah. So this will also change to agamyata. Agamyata, agamyetam, agamyanta. So agachat will become agamyata. The declining, as I've told you, will follow labdhatu. Now again, let us use labdhatu itself. Ramah shalam labhate. I am not exactly sure if this will form the exact meaningful sentence, but let us just use labhate in this sentence. So Ramah shalam labhate. Now labhate, you should use the same dhatu itself. You should use the same lakara also. So labhate is lat lakara. But when you change labhate to the corresponding atmanepadi form, it will become labhyate. So labhyate is the final translation. Now let us use vidhiling lakara. Gachet, gachet, gachetam, gacheyuhu is the parasmepadi form. So for gach dhatu, what is the similar vidhiling lakara for lab dhatu?
Labet, labetam, labeyuhu.
Labheta. It's not labhet. It's not a halanta. It is gachet. Halanta is there in the Parasmaipadi form. In the Atmanipadi form, there is no halanta. It is complete. So labheta, labheyatam, labheran. So if it was gacheta, gamyeta will be the corresponding translation. So this is for gachdhatu, for the main important. And again, labhishyate. So it will become gamyate. Gamishyate will be the, so for latlakara, gachati, gamyate. Langlakara, agachat, agachata. Sorry, agamyata. For ritlakara, for ritlakara, gamishyati, gamishyate. For vidhiling lakara, gachet, gachet, gamyata. For vidhiling lakara, gachatu, gamyatat. Gamyatam. So these are the corresponding lakaras for gach dhatu. Any doubts? No, for pash, that is drish dhatu, pashyantu. So let us again start with lat lakara. Pashyati, drishyate. Pashyati, drishyate. Lat lakara. Apashyata, adrishyata. Apashyat is for parasmaipadi, kartari prayoga. Adrishyata will become the karmani prayoga for atmanepadi. Pashyantu, that is the lot lakara. Pashyatu will not change the vachana, will keep the first word. Prathama purusha ekavachana itself we will discuss. So pashyatu, it will become drishyatam. Pashyatu, drishyatam, similar to labhatam. And pashyet, vidhiling lakara, drishyeta. pashyet, drishyet. So these are the lakaras for drish dhatu. Upadishet. Now we are again going on using some vidhining lakara in this case. So upadishati is the word, that is the lat lakara. Upadishati, upadishyet. Oh, sorry, upadishyate, upadishati, upadishyate. Lat lakara. Upadishet, in this case I am using vidhining lakara. Upadishyet, upadishyet, upadishyet. Both are vidhining lakara. Upadishatu, upadishyatam. Upadishatu, which is lot lakara. Upadishyatam, that is also lot lakara in the Atmanepadi form. Ashamsyata. So again, if you, which type of, which padi is it? Is it Atmanepadi or Parasmepadi? Ashamsyata.
Atmanepadi.
How can you tell it's Atmanepadi?
Halanta is not there. Apadat, apadatam, apatan is Parasmaipadi. Apatyata is Atmanepadi.
Very good. So first thing is there is no halanta in the langlakara usage. I know correspondingly apatat, you have halanta in langlakara for parasmepadi. So that is the first thing. Second thing is it is not a universal rule, but here in this case you have a yakara coming in. But as I've told you, santushyati, santushyate. So there are some peculiar words which come in divadi gana, I think, in one particular gana that I discussed in the last class, wherein in both Parasmepadi as well as in Atmanepadi, you have the yakara to always be there. So santushyati, santushyate. So both are correct. So in that those type of peculiar words, this yakara's presence making it Atmanepadi rule cannot be applied. But in this case, I am telling you that there is also that yakara and the absence of halanta, which tells you that this is Atmanepadi. Very good. So ashamsyata, aprashamsat, aprashamsat, apatat, aprashamsat. That is prathama purusha ekavachana for lang lakara. Aprashamsat is also lang lakara prathama purusha ekavachanam. Dhavati, dhavati, dhavyate, dhavati, dhavyate, adhavat, adhavat, adhavyata, adhavat, adhavyata, dhavatu, dhavyatam, dhavet, dhavyat, dhavyet, dhavet, dhavyet. Tishtati. This is also one more peculiar, like how we saw in drish dhatu, pashyati, drishyate. So there is a total change. Similarly in stha dhatu, that is for tishtati, it will become sthiyate. Tishtati is latlakara, sthiyate. Tishtatu, tishtatu, sthiyatam. Tishthet, sthiyet. Tishthet, sthiyet. Tishthet, sthiyeta. Tishtatu, sthiyatam. Tishtati, sthiyate. Lat, lung, lit, lat, lung, lot, and vidhiling lakara. Okay, so with this, I think we can go into a brief, introduction or a brief run through to Kridantras.
I had asked this question on WhatsApp also. Can
Yeah.
you please give the Atmanepadi form of Litlakara?
Yeah. The thing is, I have been searching for Litlakara and I've been asking people I know about Litlakara, but usually the response is again ambiguous because Litlakara's Prayoga Parivartanam is very rare and even I have not come across it. So I'm still searching for that Litlakara's. So for example, Papatha, what will be the conversion in Prayoga Parivartanam? So give me some more time. If I can find you an answer, I'll let you know. If I can't find an answer, I'll probably let you know the reason also.
Okay, so from an exam point of view, we should mainly focus on lut, lung, rit, lot, vidhiling, and vidhiling basically.
Yeah.
Right?
These five lakaras are the most commonly used and nearly the only ones used. So as I've told you, Kridantas are mainly to use tenses that are not inherently there in the lakaras. That is, you have your lut, lung, lot, rit, vidhiling, late, rit, all these lakaras you have, which are mainly used for present, past, and future. But you don't have certain tenses that are already there in English, and that is why I have told you that these types of Kridantas are being covered. These types of tenses are being covered in Kridantas. So that is the main reason why we use Kridantas. And the second reason for using Kridanta is whenever you have an adjective, which is a verb. For example, the running kid fell down. So here the running is an adjective, but it is still a verb. So run is a verb. You're using it as an adjective. So in such cases, when a verb has to be used as an adjective, you can never use a lakara for that particular usage. In those particular types of examples, you should use kridantas. So kridantas have two uses. First use is as an additional tense that you don't have inherently in Sanskrit. Second type of use is to use adjectives which are verbs. So now there are 2, 4, 6, around 9 kridantas in total. They come in pairs: Kshatriya Shanach, Tavatutta, Tavyataniyar, and Tumuntvalyap. So these are the pairs. So Kshatriya Shanach is one pair, Tavatutta is one pair, Tavyataniyar is one pair, and Tvalyap and Tumun are one group, which are avyayas. So I'll tell you, I'll briefly discuss about the pairs as a whole. I won't go into the details of how these pratyayas add, because that is there already in the videos. This is a revision to make you understand what these kridantas do. So Kshatriya Shanach, this pair of kridantas are used for present continuous tense. For example, as I told you, the running kid fell down. So running is a present continuous form. Hence, if you have to use adjectives of this kind, or for example, I am sleeping, I am reading. I read is a present tense. So that is again a colloquial usage. I am reading is also considered present, but apt way to tell is I am reading is a present continuous usage. So in such cases wherein I am reading, in this case, I am reading is your verb, or the running kid fell down, running is your adjective. So in these cases, you have to use Kshatriya and Shanach pratyaya. Now, why do we have two pratyayas? The reason is Kshatriya can only be used for dhatus which are parasmaipadi, and Shanach is used only for dhatus which are atmanepadi. So that is why, since you have two types of padis, you have two types of vartamana or bhavishyat. So this again can be used for present continuous as well as future continuous tenses. Okay, so that is the main use of Kshatriya and Shanach pratyaya. Okay, and again, in both these situations, that is in both these pratyaya, Kshatriya and Shanach, they are totally dominant on the subject. Hence, they are using Kartari Prayogas only. So yeah, they are using Kartari Prayogas only. Hence, Kshatriya Shanach sentences always are Kartari Prayoga usages. You can never use Kshatriya and Shanach in a Karmani Prayoga usage. So that is Kshatriya and Shanach. So Kshatriya is Oduttiruva magu beeduttane. Nanu odutta iddene. So these are present continuous. Nanu odutta iddene. Nanu oduttene is present tense. Nanu odutta iddene is present continuous tense. So that is when you use Kshatriya and Shanach pratyaya. Kshatriya pratyaya is for parasmaipadi, Shanach pratyaya is for atmanepadi. And since they can be used as adjectives, in the very first slides of this PPT, I have mentioned that adjectives always follow the word that they are describing. So if they are describing a student, it can describe a raja, it can describe whatever the verb. So it can, whatever is the describing verb, that should always follow the purusha vachana linga of the describing word. Adjective should follow the linga purusha vachana of the noun that is being described. Hence, since they are adjectives, they should always have linga vibhakti vachana, because if you are describing a boy, as we know in Sanskrit is akaranta pullinga bala shabda. Hence, you should have a suitable adjective that should also be akaranta pullinga. If you are describing a girl, bala, then you should also have a strilinga form. That is what in Sanskrit adjectives change with the noun. In English, it's not the case. The good boy went to the school, the good girl went to the school. So the good remains to be good. But in Sanskrit, since adjective changes with the noun, hence these Kshatriya Shanach pratyayas form declinable forms, because they should be able to change with linga, change with vibhakti, change with vachana. Hence, Kshatriya and Shanach pratyayas form declinable verbs in different lingas, and these were described in the previous lesson in the complete class that we discussed. Gachan, gachanti, gachat. So gachan is for pullinga, gachanti is for strilinga, gachat is for napumsakalinga. Avanu oduttiruva magu beeduttade, oduttiruva huduganu beeduttane. So if you whenever you change the linga of this, it will correspondingly change. For example, hoguttiruva huduganu noduttane, gachan balakah pashyati. ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಹುಡುಗಿಯು ನೋಡುತ್ತಾಳೆ. ಗಚ್ಚಂತಿ ಬಾಲ ಪಶ್ಯತಿ. ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಪುಸ್ತಕವು ನೋಡುತ್ತದೆ. though it is not a real world example, I'm just giving you Hoguttiruva pustakavu noduttade, Gachat pustakam pashyati. So these are Pullinga, Strilinga, Navamsakalinga. Why we will need vibhaktis is, as we see here, if you see the fourth example, he goes with the friend who is cooking. So is cooking is your present continuous tense, and that is describing the friend. Hence it is being used as an adjective. But you should first determine what will be the linga vibhakti vachana of your noun that you are describing, friend. As I've told you in Sanskrit, with a friend. So if you're showing something like with or connection, it should always use the word saha, and it should always use tritiya vibhakti. So it should be ramena, so tena, or whatever it is. So in that case, what happens is your corresponding adjective should also have that particular linga vibhakti vachana. So if you are using the friend, if you're using friend, the word is mitram, which is Napumsakalinga pada. And as I've told you, whenever you use saha to show with, it should be in tritiya vibhakti. So mitram, similar to phalam, the tritiya vibhakti will be mitrena. Hence, the adjective which is cooking, that should also have the same linga vibhakti vachana as mitrena. Mitrena is Napumsakalinga, tritiya vibhakti ekavachana. Hence, pach dhatu, when you use the Napumsakalinga format, so jagat, jagati, jaganti, so I have explained why I have given you this. So in this particular pachat, if you take pachat shabda, Napumsakalinga, tritiya vibhakti ekavachanam will be maruta, hence it will be pachata. Hence you have to use pachata mitrena. So you're describing mitra, hence your and is cooking is a present continuous tense, so you should use shatra or shanash pratyaya based on the dhatu, and the final form should have the linga vibhakti vachana of your mitra. Hence you will need linga vibhakti vachana to be decided for shatra and shanash pratyaya. So that is shatra and shanach. As I've told you, shatra was always for parasmepadi, shanach is for atmanepadi. Now you have the second pair, which is tavatu and ta. Both these are used for past usages. Tavatu is mainly for simple past, whereas ta pratyaya is more commonly used for past perfect tense. Now again, why do we have two types of pratyayas in present continuous and future continuous? It was for to segregate between parasmepadi and atmanepadi, whereas for tavatu and ta, it is for tavatu is used for kartari prayogas only. Ta pratyaya is used for karmani as well as bhave prayoga. To have this differentiation between the prayogas, you have two different types of pratyayas. Again, since they can be used as adjectives, they also have linga vibhakti vachana based on the word that they are describing. So and again, they can be used for both parasmepadi and atmanepadi. The tavatu and ta can take up for both parasmepadi as well as atmanepadi. For example, okay, all these that I've taken is for parasmepadi, but again, you can use it for atmanepadi as well. So gatavan, gatavati, gatavat. It is for simple past. So tavatu is for simple past, and it is for kartari prayoga only. He went, saha agachat. If you, that is the lakara form. If you want to use pratyayas, it will become saha gatavan, sa agachat. If you use kridantas, it will become sa gatavati, tat agachat, tat gatavat. So these are the ways that you have to use. If you want to use kridantas, you should be able to decide linga vibhakti vachana of your describing word. Based on that, again, as I've told you, since it's kartari prayoga, as you saw, saha gachati, saha gatavan, sa gatavati, tat gatavat. Since the linga of the kartapada is changing, based on the rules of kartari prayoga, the kriya pada should also change. Since the kriya pada is a kridanta, hence the linga vibhakti vachana also will change. Whereas if you are using lakara, you felt it saha agachat, sa agachat, tat agachat. You may feel that it is the same, but that is because saha, sa, tat, all the three are third person, that is prathama purusha and ekavachanam only. Hence your lakara also will take, as I've told you, if you are using lakara, only the purusha and vachana is dictated by the kartra karma pada, whereas if you are using kridanta, linga, vibhakti, vachana, all these are decided by the kartripada. So hence, if you are using lakara, saha agachat, sa agachat, tat agachat, since it's prathama purusha ekavachana, agachat will continue to be aham agacham, tvam agacha. So as you can see, when you change the purusha, hence the lakara also will change. Whereas in this case, aham gatavan, because I am a male. If you are using aham in the sense of a strilinga, aham gatavati. So that is another differentiation between your lakaras and your kridantas. Lakaras change in purusha and vachana only based on the type of prayoga and the kartra and karma pada, whereas kridantas, they change in all linga, vibhakti as well as vachana based on your usage. That is, in this case it's kartari prayoga, hence the the word that is being used as your kartri pada, or your karma pada if you're using karmani prayoga. And this is the
I have a question here.
Yeah, please.
If you have a sentence like aham patan asmi, how would you convert that into karmani prayoga?
So, as I've told you, that Shatra and Shanash are only used for Kartari Prayoga.
Oh, okay.
So that's what.
Okay.
So you can never have a conversion from Kartari to Karmani in case of Shatra and Shanash Pratyaya. And it's only possible in Tavatu and Ta, because as we have told you, Tavatu is only for Kartari, Ta is only for Karmani. Hence, when you're changing from Kartari to Karmani, you'll change your Kridanta from Tavatu to Ta.
Okay.
So in Shatra and Shanash, you can never have a Karmani Prayoga usage for the same type of usage.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So as I've told you, Tavatu, this was to give you how the Pullinga Rupa is, and this is for the Napumsakalinga Rupa. And again, why we need different lakaras, sorry, different vibhaktis and vachanas, you can see the last but one sentence. The two penencing sages obtained moksha. So if you see this, the obtained is your past tense, and that will, since you can either use the lakara or your kridanta form, and this, since we are discussing kridantas, if you use kridanta, then the lakara, sorry, linga, vibhakti, vachana should be decided by the kartripada, because tavatu is only for kartari prayoga. Hence, in this particular sentence, the karta, that is the doer, is a sage, and you have two such sages. So sage Rishi is a pullinga pada, and you're talking about two sages. So you have dvivachana, and you are using prathama vibhakti, because you're the kartripada should always be in prathama vibhakti in kartari prayoga. Hence, you have your kartripada as pullinga, dvivachana, prathama vibhakti. Hence, your kridanta should also have pullinga, prathama vibhakti and dvivachanam. Praptavan, praptavantau. And again, in the same sentence, you have penencing. We have seen in Shatra Shanash that penencing is a present continuous tense, and you should always use Shatra and Shanash for that. When you use Shatra Shanash, again the same rule comes into picture. What is tapan? Penencing, describing, it is describing the sage. What is the quality of the sages? It is pullinga, prathama vibhakti, dvivachanam. Hence, the penencing, the Shatra or Shanash word that you use should also have pullinga, prathama vibhakti, dvivachanam. Tapan, tapantau, tapantah. So tapantau, praptavantau. So that is why you'll need linga, vibhakti, vachana to be understood for different types of dhatus. Similarly, now what we have seen was simple past tense. So he went, the sages obtained moksha. So they're all simple sentence, simple past tense sentences. But when you want to use past perfect tense, for example, the work was done by me. Again, so as I've told you, tavatu pratyaya sentences can be converted into ta pratyaya, because tavatu is for active and active voice, and ta is for passive voice. So that is why you have this two types of pratyayas. For example, aham karyam kritavan, I did the work. Now if you want to convert it into passive voice, nanu kelasavannu madide will use tavatu pratyaya, because it is kartari prayoga. Now if you want to change nanninda kelasavu madalpattitu, again madalpattitu, that alpa, if you have that verbs coming in, it will always be used for passive voice. Hence, nanu kelasavannu madide, aham karyam kritavan is tavatu pratyaya. Nanninda kelasavu madalpattitu, the work was done by me. You should use, if you are continuing to use kridantas, maya karyam kritam. Since I have already told you that ta pratyaya is only used for karmani prayoga, follow the rules of karmani prayoga. Kartripada should be in tritiya, karma pada should be in prathama, kriya padas, in this case kridanta, linga vibhakti vachana should be decided by the karma pada. Karyam is a napumsakalinga pada. It is in prathama vibhakti, it's in ekavachanam. Hence, kr dhatu, ta pratyaya should also have Napumsakalinga prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. Kritam krite kritani. So kritam maya karyam kritam. So you can always, so if you have a tavatu sentence, you can, if you are converting it into passive voice, always use ta pratyaya. This is one more thing that I actually have to tell you in importance. If they've used a lakara in the given sentence, after converting, try to keep the lakara usage only. If they've used a kridanta in the given sentence, try to keep the kridanta usage in the converted sentence also. So there can only be conversion between tavatu and ta. You can not have any other sentence. So only for tavatu, if they've given patitavan, gatavan, patitavati, gatavati, so try to convert it into the corresponding ta pratyaya. If they've given lakara, continue to use lakara. Labhate, labhyate, pathati, pathyate. So you can, the lakara to lakara. Patitavan, patitavan, patitaha. So you have to convert it in that way. So remember, lakara to lakara, kridanta to kridanta. So that is tavatu and ta. Madutta iddane, it is Shatru or Shanish based on the padi. Madide or Madidanu, it is past tense, Kritavan. Or if it is Karmani Prayoga, Madal Pattitu, Kritam or Kritaha based on Krita Pratyaya. So, Nanu Kelasavannu Madide, Nanu Vodide, all these past tenses, it is either Langlakara or Tavatu Pratyaya or Ta Pratyaya. Sorry, Tavatu Pratyaya. Naninda Vodal Pattide. So it is only Langlakara Atmanepadi or Ta Pratyaya. Any doubts in this pair? Shatrishanash was discussed. Tavatu ta. Any doubts in this? Okay. So the next pair is Tavyat and Aniyar. Tavyat and Aniyar is, it does not follow any Parasmanepadi Atmanepadi rule. It does not follow any Karmani Kartari Prayoga Karmani Prayoga rule, because it is a totally different type of usage, which is for mainly for ordering. And it is because when you see the examples, you'll come to know that the more common usage is Karmani Prayoga. We will discuss why it is. So as I told you, it is an alternative. It's not exactly an alternative, but it's a more assertive way to Vidhiling. So Vidhiling is let the lesson be read. So it is a type of order, but you're not asserting yourself. So if you want to give forceful orders, you have to do this, you must do this. So those types of words can be used using Tavyat and Aniyar Pratyaya. So Tavyat, as I've told you, it also has to take up different types of Linga Vibhakti Vachana forms, because it is also used for describing something. As I've mentioned in this, so dharma has to be protected by us. So as you can see, if you read through most of these sentences, if you're using your Tavyat Aniyar as your main verb, it will usually be in Karmani Prayoga, because I must protect is always, I must protect in Nanu Kelasa Madale Beku. Aham Karyam Avashyam Karomi. But again, if you can always use Kartavyam. But when you use Kartavyam, then you should always try to use Karmani Prayoga. So Tavyat and Aniyar always use Karmani Prayoga or Bhave Prayoga. Again, how will you differentiate between Karmani or Bhave? Based on the Dhatu. If it's a Sakarmaka Dhatu, the Tavyat Aniyar Pratyaya will give you a Karmani Prayoga usage. If it is Akarmaka Dhatu, it will give you a Bhave Prayoga usage. Dharma must be protected by us. Asmabhi dharma rakshitavya. Again, since it's a Karmani Prayoga usage, the Kriya Pada should follow the Karma Pada. Karma Pada is dharma, which is Akaranta Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam. Hence, rakshitavya, raksh dhatu with tavyat pratyaya will also take up Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam, which is rakshitavya. Whereas in the second sentence, I've used yat tat. So that combination is used for Napumsakalinga usage. Hence, kartavyam, which is Napumsakalinga for kri dhatu tavyat pratyaya. If you see the last part of an example, I have used this tavyat pratyaya as your adjective. So among the things that should be read, among the books that you should read, Gita is important. So among the scriptures, Gita is important. If you read Grantheshu Gita Pramukha. But what type of granthas are we talking about? We are talking about the granthas that must be read. Since you are showing that assertion must be read, you should use Tavyat or Aniyar Pratyaya. And as I've told you, you're describing the scriptures or the books. Hence, whatever is the Linga Vibhakti Vachana of your books, that should be taken up by the Tavyat or Aniyar Pratyaya. In this example, must be read. So, Padhitavyeshu Grantheshu. Since you're using Grantheshu, Grantha is Akaranta Pullinga similar to Rameshu. So patitavyeshu, patitavyah is the word similar to rakshitavyah. Patitavyah, in that saptami vibhakti bahuvachanam, patitavyeshu. If you are using aniyar, pathaniyeshu, pathaniyah is the pullinga form, aniyar pratyaya, pathaniyeshu grantheshu gita pramukha. Last sentence was to show you that you can also use tavyat and aniyar in the bhavya prayoga. So the first three were mainly for karmani prayoga because you have akarmaka sakarmaka dhatus. Last sentence is using has dhatu, which is akarmaka dhatu. Hence you can use tavyat even in bhavya prayoga. Similarly, aniyar also the same. It's nearly the same. You can interchangeably use tavyat aniyar. So you don't have to change the sentence structure at all, and you can simply change the rakshitavyah to rakshaniyah, kartavyam to karaniyam, darshaniyeshu, darshitavyeshu, sevaniyeshu, sevitavyeshu. So tavyat aniyar is totally interchangeable without any change in the sentence structure. Avyayani, this was a brief thing to come into this Tumun Tvalyab. As I told you, Tumun Tvalyab, this group is a specific group wherein you add this to a dhatu, it will give you an avyayam. And as you know, avyayam does not change with linga, vibhakti, vachana, whatever, or the prayoga that you use. Hence, you need not have to worry if you are using Tumun Tvalyab in your sentences. You do not have to worry which linga, which word is in which linga, vibhakti, vachana, or which pada is in which lakara, purusha, vachana. So you don't have to worry. These are always avyayam. The main usage is tumun. So Shatra Shanach was Madutta iddene, I am doing. So for that particular types of usages, use Shatra Shanach. Madide, I have done. You can use Tavatu. Naninda Madal Pattitu was done by me. Use Ta Pratyaya. Madale Beku or Hogale Beku. In the such assertive cases, Tavyat and Aniyar. Now we will look into the Tumun Pratyaya. So Tumun is Madudakke. Nanu ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಓದುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಬರೆಯುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಓದುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಆಟಾಡಲು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. So in all these, in order to go to play, I will read now. In order to write the exam, I will read now. So in all these cases, the intention you're showing. So it's not an action that you have already done. You have an intention to do an action. In that cases, the intended action will get tuman pratyaya. ನಾನು ಆಟವಾಡಲು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಹಂ ಕ್ರೀಡಿತುಂ ಗಚ್ಚಾಮಿ. ಆಟವಾಡಲು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. So ವಾಡಲು, that intended action will take the tuman. So ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಹಂ ಕಾರ್ಯಂ ಕರ್ತುಂ ಗಚ್ಚಾಮಿ. So in this tuman tvalya, what you have to understand is they are never your main verbs. They are always secondary verbs. You have a main verb coming after that. For example, if you see, the red verbs are always lakara usages. Sometimes you can use kridantas, like in the third example, agatavan, agachat. So you can use if you use agachat also, you can use lakara usages, but most of the times it will be lakara. Your tumun tvalyap will be your auxiliaries and auxiliary verbs. So aham karyam kartum ichchami. Nanu kelasavannu ಮಾಡಲು ಇಚ್ಛಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಗುರುವನ್ನು ವಂದಿಸಲು ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಹಂ ಗುರುಂ ನಮಿತುಂ ಶಾಲಾಂ ಗಚ್ಚಾಮಿ. So in these types of usages, the tuman pratyaya is for intended action. Tva. Now you are in the tuman pratyaya, ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. So you are showing an action that is to be done in the future. But if you are showing an action that was previously done, so if you have a sequence of actions and you are telling the action that was already done, ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋದೆ, ನಾನು ಊಟವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಮಲಗಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಪಾಠವನ್ನು ಓದಿ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋದೆ. So all these ಓದಿ, ಮಾಡಿ, all these will take ತ್ವಾ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ. ಅಹಂ ಕಾರ್ಯಂ ಕೃತ್ವ ಗೃಹಂ ಗಚ್ಚಾಮಿ. ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋದೆ. Having completed the work, I went home. So these twa pratyaya usage shows in the sequence of actions that you are describing, the already done action takes up twa pratyaya. Lyap is also exactly the same. So lyap also is used for this type of, in the sequence of action, to describe already completed action, you use lyap. But the only change is lyap always comes when the dhatu has an upasarga along with it. So in the upasarga concept, I've already explained you that upasargas have multiple uses. One, either it just continues to just be there without changing the meaning. Second thing, it can totally give the opposite or a different meaning. Third thing is it can enhance the meaning. So whenever you have a dhatu plus upasarga as your choice of dhatu, then instead of tva you should always use lyap. Gachati gatva, that is tva pratyaya. Gachati upagamya, because upa is the upasarga there, upagamya. So whenever you have this lyap pratyaya usages, as I've mentioned in some of these examples, so you have to use lyap pratyaya. Again, based on what type of upasargas you're adding and what type of dhatu you're using, the way the lyap pratyaya adds can change. So for the same gam dhatu, for upa it is upagamya, for a it is agatya, for upa it is upakritya. So based on the upasargas and the dhatus, the way the upasarga, the lyap pratyaya adds to this type of word can change, but the meaning of tva and lyap is the same. Nanu kelasavannu maadi hode. So in the same way, for example, in the things that I've used here, nanu kulitukondu haaduttene, aham vishitva. So vish is the main upasarga, main dhatu there. Up is the upasarga. So vishati vishatah vishanti is the main dhatu. When you add upa, it will change the meaning. So if you want to just use vish, both mean the same. Vishati, upavishati, both means to sit. If you just use vish dhatu, it will become vishitva. Sa balika gayati, kulitukondu a hudugiyu haaduttale. Upavishya, same. The meaning is the same. Upavishya, vishitva, both means the same. But only thing is, since you're using an upasarga in this case, you have to use lyap pratyaya. For example, tishtati. For example, again, tishtati sthitva will become the tva pratyaya. Sthitva saha gayati. So having stood up, the boy sings. Avanu nintu haaduttane. Sthitva. Utthapya. Utthapya is the upasarga for uttishtati. Tishtati sthitva. Uttishtati utthapya. So these types of sentences, whenever you have an upasarga, you have to use lyap pratyaya. If you don't have any upasarga, it is tva pratyaya. So briefly explaining, Kshatriya Shanach, I am doing, I am working, madutta iddene, odutta iddene. So that is Kshatriya Shanach. Kshatriya is for Parasmaipadi, Shanach is for Atmanepadi. Nanu madide, Kartari Prayoga, past tense, Tavatu pratyaya. Naninda madalpattitu, past tense, but again Karmani Prayoga, it is the pratyaya. ನಿನ್ನಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಡಲೇಬೇಕು, ನಿನ್ನಿಂದ ಹಾಡಲ್ಪಡಲೇಬೇಕು, ನಿನ್ನಿಂದ ಓಡಲ್ಪಡಲೇಬೇಕು. These assertiveness, ತವ್ಯತ್ and ಅನಿಯರ್, and ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡುತ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಓದಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡುತ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಬರೆಯಲು ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೇನೆ. In order to write the exam, I go to school. In order to, I want to finish the work. So all these intended actions, ತುಮನ್. ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋದೆ. Having completed the work, I went home. So showing a previously completed action in the chain of actions, you use tva or lyap. Tva is for just the dhatu. If the dhatu has an accompanying upasarga, then instead of tva, you should use lyap pratyaya. So these are prayogas and kridantas in a brief way. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now.
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the difference between lot lakara and vidhiling?
Okay. Lot lakara is for request. Saha patham patatu. Avanu pathavannu odali. So you are telling it either as it's a way of asking permission in a very polite way. Saha patham patatu. Avanu pathavannu odali. If you use vidhiling lakara, it's more of an order. Saha patham pathet. Again, if you use lot and vidhiling, lot is a very mild way of requesting, whereas vidhiling is more of an ordering.
Is it like stressing that the person has to read, like stressing it?
Yeah, but again, if you use should, must, those are the stressing words. But if you start using should and must, you should immediately transfer your sentence to tavyat aniyar pratyayas. Okay, so if we'll conclude today's class. गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. राम राम राम.